G'day folks, my name's Jaden Drought with the Farm Trader magazine. Here we are in sunny mid-Canterbury. Behind me is the Dalbo MaxiRoll 630. What that is a 6.3 metre roller drill with the associated drill on the back, and we've also got the levelling paddles. Starting from the front, we've got it's made in Denmark, very heavy duty machine. As you can see, we've got pressed steel as opposed to welded, and also it's very thick, and as you can see from the rounding here on the steel, that shows how thick the sidewall is, more importantly, on the steel, and that's what gives it its strength. So as we know, just because it's heavy, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's strong, and with the amount of weight in these rings, these things definitely need to be heavy. As we work our way back, we've got these large frame carriers, which is when the machine is actually folded up. It sits nice and narrow for road transport, and that just takes the shock out and also supports the wings when in the transport mode. Moving back here, this is the front levelling paddle. So these front levelling paddles have been designed with the roller, so these go in tandem. This is an integral part of the machine, and as you can see, again from another strength perspective, that it's welded plate and bolted. It's not U-clamped onto the main frame, and that also gives it a lot of strength. So what we've got, which is unique with these levelling paddles, is that the first thing you'll notice is there's a lot of them across the section. So what it does is it allows a bulldozing and a levelling effect, and that then, depending on what tips you've got, you can carry a significant amount of soil, and these things are usually, straight after ploughing, that first pass secondary cultivation type tool. It's also then can be used as a finishing machine, so that's where these paddles really come into play. It leaves a beautiful seed bed. As you can see, it just drags a little bit, and then the seed drops in behind there, and then the roller smooths it out, so you end up with a beautiful seed bed. So what we've got here, we've got two things going on. We've got the winder here, which is manual adjustment, so that's the pitch. So what happens is that when you're going along, you don't want, depending on your soil conditions, the paddle to be too upright, because what happens is it drags the soil, it gets to the stage where there's too much, and it jumps over the top. So that creates a hump in the seedbed, which is obviously not ideal. So you've got this does the pitch, and then the rams do the lifting. That's in a parallelogram, so regardless of how high they are, they're going to be pitched the same. So this is great for individual requirements depending on your soil conditions, and again, it leaves a beautiful finish. Back behind here, we've got the seeding tubes. So it's an 8 outlet seeder, but then we've got the Ys on here, or the splitters, and what that does is that it then turns into 16. So that gives us a better or closer seed pattern, and that also, once it hits the half rounds at the end, it gives us a nice fanning effect and gives a beautiful seeding job. In terms of the roller itself, we've got a couple of cool things happening. We've got 650mm rings, and also a Dalbo patent, which is a snowflake design. The reason it's called a snowflake design is because it's spoked, and that's what makes it look like a snowflake. But more importantly, every notch on the cast ring has a support on the inside of it. So that's what gives it its strength, and Dalbo is so confident that they give a 6-year warranty on those rings. So that's pretty impressive given some of the abuse that they can have. They've also then got a breaker ring that's sloppy on the shaft, so that moves around, and that's great in heavy conditions, as that really stops any soil sticking to the roller. It leaves a beautiful finish, and it stops anything sticking, obviously picking up seed, and it just leaves a really superb finish. Moving back to the frame, so what we've got here, which is unique again to the Dalbo roller, is we've got the DuoFlex hydraulic system. So that's the downforce, and what it allows is 33% to be allocated to each of the 3 sections. How that works is that if you imagine, it locks it down rather than pivoting on the wings. So what that really does is it allows it to follow the contour without actually reducing any weight from the inside to the outside. So the weight across the width of the roller stays constant regardless of the contour. Back here, we've got the 500 litre air seeder. A couple of cool features here. We've got different rollers that can be interchanged. So usually most people have 2. We've got a small seed and then a larger seed one for things like oats, grass seed, those sort of more common crops. It's chain driven under the cover on the other side, which gives positive traction to the roller as opposed to belts, which can sometimes slip. And also for easy calibration, you've just got this little tray. You've got a start-stop button around here which sends a control to the in-cab controller, and that just purges a certain amount of seed however long you hold the button. You then take your weigh tray, you weigh it, punch it into the computer, and that does the auto calibration, so that's a great feature. We've got a low seed alert in the tank, and we've also got blockage sensors down here which are quite hard to see, but those little shafts along there bouncing off that, there's a sensor that sends across the whole width, and what happens is if one of these is moving and obviously that's piling up with seed, that then sends an alert to the operator that one of the seeds is blocked. We've also got this little noodle on the outside here. What that does is it just simply goes around and shows that shaft moving. This is just a visual aid for the driver to just let him know that the actual thing is moving, and apart from the computer telling them that it's moving, that it's just that visual double check that it's actually doing its thing. This tube here comes from the hydraulic fan mounted nearer the front of the machine. What that does is just keeps it in a bit cleaner air, and so it's not sucking in all that dust. And also on the front of the pedals, there's a sensor which you can set on the monitor in the cab, so that once the pedals are lifted up, that cuts the seeding. You can also then restart the seeding once the pedals go down. So that's instead of pushing start stop on the button on the monitor. But you can also pre-charge the lines. You can set it to a time so that you can essentially have seed traveling down the tubes, so that when you're at the headland that there's not that gap between the seed going from the meter down to the end of the tube. So that's another great feature. Another cool feature we've got around the back here is this sturdy and safe loading tray. So that allows you from the ground, chest height, chuck a couple of bags up there to then help you load up into the hopper. And also allows you to carry a few bags with you to the field if you haven't quite got enough capacity in the hopper. Another really cool thing is this is rubber mounted, so although it might move around a little bit, there's actually not that jarring effect on the metering unit, so that just gives the whole thing longevity. And around the front there's the pipe, so in case you're finished and you've still got a bit of seed left, it allows you to do the bin dump, which is a lot easier than metering it out the back. So a couple of cool nifty features around the back here. As you can see here, this is our first pass after rolling, so we've just gone round with the paddles down and the roller to consolidate the seed bed. Now we're ready to seed. As you can see, these tips are doing a beautiful job clearing a little area there with a nice ridge. Seed goes in, and then the roller comes in and packs that all down, leaves a nice beautiful seed bed. Another cool thing we've got going on with the rings here is what they do is it's almost like an old school sheep's foot roller. It punches a divot into the ground. That does two things. One, it gives really good seed to soil contact and really gives that nice consolidation so the topsoil doesn't blow away. But also what it does is it doesn't create a straight channel, so that allows the water in heavy rainfall events to actually be stopped, almost like an egg carton, as opposed to just running straight down the line. So that's great for obviously not letting the seed run away, and also for soil erosion, which is becoming a big environmental issue. Check out the upcoming review in the Farm Trader magazine, and also the video at farmtrader.co.nz, as well as on the social media applications.